and welcome to Pigeon Duiwe News. My name is Tatos Khone, and today we are in studio and we will be joined by Western Cape fancier, Mr. Ebrahim Mohamed. He will share with us his racing performances and how the pigeon racing gets conducted in the Western Cape. Stay tuned. Mr. Ebrahim, thanks for joining us on today's show, and welcome to the show of Pigeon Duiwe News.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure, and I thank you guys for just inviting me.
Can you just give us a brief background about your racing career and how you started being involved in pigeon racing?
Well, basically, I started off as in my childhood. I had some pigeons. That's basically where I started, but unfortunately, I had to leave it due to schoolwork at the time. You know, growing up, and then just now about 2013, I just needed something back again. And one thing that I've missed so much was the pigeon. I could see it took my mind off from the entire world, and that's when I started getting back into the pigeon sport. That's basically how I got back into the pigeon sport, because it was my hobby and I love pigeons. That was basically the why I got back into the pigeon.
How is it starting racing pigeons in the Western Cape? Is it difficult to start, or is it an easy process?
Look, on my side, it was quite easy for me. Acquiring the best pigeons at the end of the day, it was an easy task for me, man, because I had the financial backing as well, man, just to make sure that I can get my hands on good pigeons. Because in today's sport, with the racing pigeons, in order for you to get the right pigeon, obviously it costs a little bit of money at the end of the day. So when I started off in 2013, I actually used to buy quite a few pigeons from the Sun City $1 million races. And I mean, I could acquire that. I think on my first year of racing, we did extremely well. And I think that was the A+ on my side.
About the sport, who was like your mentor that side, or maybe someone you partnered with that pushed you and made a good partnership with you to be where you are today?
Yeah, basically it's a friend of mine, Mr. Samson, man. Coming back into the sport in 2013, you've been told now that the color has changed, everything has changed. So my knowledge was, you know what, I don't have all the knowledge that I left after I left for like 5, 6, 8, 10 years. So he basically had the knowledge of the pigeons, because he was the one that carried on racing pigeons. And then I approached him and I asked him, look, don't you want to come with me? Let's partner up together. And that's when we started getting the right pigeons, getting a system for the pigeons. So he's basically I would say he's my mentor. And I mean, up till today, we've had great success together, and up till today, we're still partners.
Which moment or achievement that you are most proud of, in your whole career?
I think from the day I started racing pigeons in 2013, I would say every single year was a phenomenal year for me. I think our first year of racing pigeons, we won 9 federations. I mean, I don't think a first-time fancier comes into the pigeon sport that win 9 federations. I mean, the FPHU had quite an amount, about 600-700 fanciers on there. And I mean, ending up my first year as 29th in the overall in the Western Cape, which was phenomenal. As a first-time fancier, I mean, I had the best time on the truck as well. Second in the, there was a Graafrenet second. I mean, there was many other races, which was phenomenal results. I mean, from 2013, I started off, I was second as a union champion. The second year, I was union champion. Third year, I was union champion again. And I mean, also ending up 23rd. For Western Cape, for me, racing right at the back, it's a bit more tougher than the guys in front. I mean, if you take the people in Paarl, which is about 40 kilometers from here, and I mean, I think that's where the gap is. And how we were competing against these top fanciers. And I mean, Cape Town's got phenomenal fanciers. And I mean, it's always been tough. But I think that's why in overall, all my years I've been racing, I would say every year I had achieved.
There are a large number of fanciers competing in the Western Cape as opposed to fanciers competing this side and other parts of the country.
Look, if I look in overall, Western Cape has always been large as well. I know in Johannesburg there's quite a lot of unions, man, and I think what I've noticed is that a lot of guys fly like 3-4 teams, man. And I mean, here by us, we'll have like 2 or 3 or 4 guys that flies 2 teams. And I think that's already put us at a bigger, because of our mountains that we have. I tell you, the pigeons here, they have so much more. It's much more harder because it's only 2-3 sections that they can come through. And that makes it tougher for a Western Cape guy to raise pigeons.
What initiatives are you going to put in place for your loft and for your career and for your breeds? Are you getting new breeds? Are you going to be, doing auctions, or what are your objectives going forward?
Yeah, no, definitely. With me having a baseline of family of pigeons, which I've developed over the years now, and I mean, with them is I've been consistent with them. So the idea is now to grow my, how can I say, my pigeon loft a little bit bigger, so that people get to know more of what I have, what strain I have. And I think taking it from there, obviously, everybody wants to be in the market where we can also make a little money, where your sport start paying for you as well, man. So it makes it so much easier. But I mean, with the loft, I've just built a new stock loft as well, which I will probably take you through later on. Then we've also, the racing section has also been not much changes, because, I always say, if the loft works, why change it? And that's the whole motto. But I mean, there's always room to improve. Every year I bring some new pigeons in, just to introduce to my family, just to see, are they the right ones? Are they competitive with my family of pigeons? And then from there, every year I have to filter. And I think that's one important thing, that you always have to bring at least 3, 4, 5 pigeons into your loft, just to improve your loft every year.
Who's usually your big surprise?
Look, we have some great fanciers. Look, number one is the first guy that's competitive to me is Mr. Duiwe and Son, right? He's also a good fancier. Then it's also Mr. Yasin. They're also doing extremely well, him and his team. So I'm actually proud of them for at least getting up compared to the other 2-3 years that I've been racing on the new SSPO truck. So I think, we need fanciers to be diverse and do a little bit more different things. And I mean, but obviously on my side, I'm not going to give up the championship that easily. It's going to be tough for them just to get, to get there. There's quite a few races over. So let's hope, it's always competition there. And I think that's what keeps the sport alive. I mean, otherwise, what's the point?
If you were part of the executive board, what changes would you come up with?
You know what, if we want to grow the sport, number one, we need to be, there's a lot of smaller fanciers, which is the young generation. And I mean, one thing I've seen we're lacking is that we need to encourage the younger generation to build onto the sport, man. We should try and create the funding, where we get some company to make some small loss and assist these guys as well, man. And I mean, in future, they are the ones that's going to grow the sport. Every year we have, our old fanciers, they're not at that age anymore, man. So we need the younger generation to take over and grow the sport more, man. And I mean, within a few years from now, we'll definitely get there.
What's your biggest mistake that you've ever done?
The biggest mistake I've ever done is put heaters in my loft, underfloor heating, and putting my lights on the timer. I tell you, it's so amazing that the natural light plays such an important role in any pigeon loft. And I mean, at the end of the day, you tell yourself, no, it's fine, it's going to be okay. I mean, last year, what I've done is I've put those lights in. What happened is the pigeons actually completely remolted. And so that was my biggest thing. And I said, you know what, I'll never ever touch any lights or play with any heating system within the loft. Look, we always say, okay, we're getting cold, but I think the pigeons are fine. They are built for this. It's just making sure that, just regularly, rather play on the feed than playing on lights, man. give a little bit more extra food at night just to keep them warmer so that they have more energy for the night. And I think that's what's important, man. And that's where I, made the mistake by taking natural light and minimizing it to rather increase the food intake in the evening. I hardly could compete. You see, what happened is it was the first, I promise you, my pigeons were in phenomenal condition. And just when I switched the lights off from the timer, I just saw the next week, I saw the entire loft full of feathers. And that's where I saw that was a problem. And it took me at least 2 months. And I mean, I was laying, if I say 7 years or 8 years on the truck, and the guys was thinking, what's happening? And I mean, look, for me, it's a learning curve. We all make mistakes, and that's what gives you success at the end of the day. And I mean, eventually, when I promise you, after the 1.5, 2 months they were finished molted, I promise you, I came up. I was basically also about 20th or 30th in the union. I mean, within 3 weeks after that, I shot up to 6th place, and then I went back again. After the next 2 weeks, I was second again, back in the union. And I mean, that's all. And I mean, last year we hardly had a full season. So I mean, even on the truck, from where I was, I ended up 6th on the truck again. So it's easy to get back, but like I said, by doing a small mistake, it can cost you the entire season. So from my side, I would say rather stick to what works for you, because we always try to improve, but it's not the loft. It's basically, we need to see the feeding method, which is the most important thing. And if we can master that, then it becomes easy.
In terms of your family getting involved, so is it a family sport at your loft?
Yeah, look, basically my wife, everyone. I mean, I even recently launched a new pet store in Cape Town. So we oversee, so we basically keep all the pigeon medication, which I just recently launched a month ago. Now she sees what I spent on pigeons, on medication and, feed and stuff like that. So I think that's why she's learned so much as well, being in the pet store, understanding what pigeons want. We've got this problem. So she also basically gives advice now. So, it's definitely a family thing. And I think we can only grow from here.
What tip can you give someone starting that side?
I always say a good loft, right? Good pigeons, a well-ventilated loft. But the best thing at the end of the day is more that pigeon loft is their home, man. And if you create a good atmosphere within their home, the pigeons are going to love back, because for them is they come back home because they know they get water, they get food, and they get safety. And I think once you create that atmosphere in the loft, pigeons will always love to come home, because that's their home. It's like us having our own home. We wouldn't want anyone just to disturb us whenever we're busy or when we're in our home. So same thing with the pigeons. If you build that love in the loft, I promise you're going to have the ultimate success. The compliment in you going into the loft also needs to be at a good pace as well. There's no rush. There's no, it's being respectful to them, because you built the home for them. So by keeping that few items together, they will always have a success. And then the other thing on feeding is the most important thing. If your feeding is right, they always say the art of feeding. And then that's what's important. The feeding needs to be proper in order for them to have success as well.
What formulas do you give your birds to make sure that they get enhanced and good and produce good performance?
Look, basically every distance got a different method of feeding. So on my side, usually my short distance feeding is basically your 4-to-1. So basically more protein, which is protein takes quicker to burn out, so you need it for the short distance. When it comes to middle to long distance, my P is reduced completely. So I only give a normal clean milli. And then from there, I start adding on your top energy, your glyco. I mix the two basically together. So basically what I do is I try and carb load more on the middle to long distance. Look on my side, I've been the overall champion on the long distance championship for 2 years overall. So, the feeding system, it proves itself that, the consistency, because a lot of guys expect to give maize all the time. But what we don't realize that maize only carries a lot of glucose. And the more energy you give, it's not bad. But carbo load is the most important thing when it comes to the longer and middle distance. So if they can rather increase the intake and even give a little more of the top energy at night just to keep the pigeon warm, it helps them so much.
Just give us a highlight of your top performance birds.
Basically, my pigeons are I race with the Anton and Hindel van Reinhard pigeons, which is the Figo pigeons. Absolutely phenomenal pigeons. The muscle, they've got a perfect body balance, everything. So I've got some other pigeons as well, which from the Webans pigeons. I've got a brother of Barry. From his sister, I've got children as well. Then I've got the direct daughter of Tinkerbell and Leonardo, Otis, which I bought. There's also the original daughter of the FCI Diamond Pair from Thorsten Dahm. So that's from Blue Panorama and Miss Adabar. So there's quite a lot of, that's why I said I did my research on the pigeons, and, they are the pigeons that actually, come through for me as those Figo pigeons. Those Anton and Hindel, they are just absolutely phenomenal. On the other side as well, I've also bought from the local, the Plains of Patries. I've got from that. I've got from out of the famous top PN, double side. Then there's also from the original Vermeyens that I've got as well. So those, you need those old pigeons as well for those harder races. I've crossed them with my figures. They did exceptionally well, and I've won I've bred the best bird on the truck as well. So those are the type of pigeons that I have. They're absolutely phenomenal.
Thanks a lot for sharing, and thanks a lot for joining us on this online session.
No, definitely. No, thank you so much for having me on the show. Thanks, man.
And there you have it from Ebrahim Mohamed, a fencer from the Western Cape. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, this is Pigeon Duiwe News.